the reticular activity system, the photomencephalon, and the locus coeruleus. They all play an important role when it comes to the sleep-wake cycle. Okay, so in most situations, they increase alertness and arousal, making you what? Wake up. So for instance, for you to wake up in the morning, it means that especially the reticular activating system is what is really active, helping you to what? Helping you to wake up. Then the locus coeruleus plays a major role, especially during the non-REM stage. At some point in time when you are within the non-REM stage, especially stage 1 and stage 2, and something causes you to wake up, it means that at that point in time, the locus coeruleus is active, informing you to what to wake up in that regard. Okay. So out of this, we could have several disorders. And the first one we'll be discussing is what? Is insomnia. And I know most of you know what insomnia is all about. Insomnia. So we normally say that the maximum number of hours anyone should sleep should be what? Or the normal hours anyone should sleep should be what?
8 hours.
Okay, 8 hours. So if someone is sleeping less, especially significantly less, the person sleeps around maybe 4 hours or 5 hours, it means something is wrong somewhere. The person has difficulties. Okay. And insomnia is sometimes a symptom for other psychological disorders. Like if someone is depressed, anxious, there's a high tendency that they would complain of what? Of insomnia. They have difficulty sleeping. Sometimes they sleep for a while, then they will just wake up. Then that will be it. They wouldn't be able to what? Sleep again. Then we have one known as sleep apnea. Sleep apnea. And this disorder could be quite fatal in a sense that some people, in the course of them sleeping, sometimes there will be some cessation of breath for a while, within some few seconds or minutes. They will cease to breathe, then they will breathe in again and all that. It happens frequently. And due to that, they have difficulties with having a consistent flow of sleep, because the moment you have shortness of breath, then it means that you need to wake up. Then you start whatever stage that you're in, you restart it again in that order. So throughout the night, they have difficulty sleeping. Their sleeping patterns are really poor because of that shortness of breath that they have and cessation of breath they normally experience. And when that cessation of breath becomes longer, then you know that means lau. Because if you are not able to breathe in within for a while, then it means that there's no flow of oxygen, thereby leading to death. Okay. Then the next one has to do with narcolepsy. And this normally happens when there is a lesion or damage within the reticular activating system, which is responsible for wakefulness. So with them, they sleep a lot throughout the day. They could sleep consistently. Okay, so within the day they can sleep like 15 times, and it's not like they take in a deep sleep. No, their sleeping patterns are quite minimal. So maybe you'll be having discussions with the person, you leave the person for a while. By the time you come, the person has lie down, or maybe lean on the a chair or something, taking a nap. So throughout the day, they can take a nap consistently for about 15 to 20 times. Then in the night, they wouldn't sleep. That's one thing about narcolepsy people. So the daytime, they have sleep attacks consistently. Then during the night that they are supposed to sleep. And this happens because there's that sort of disruption in their circadian rhythm, whereby they're supposed to sleep at night and sleep and wake up in the evening. Yeah. So please, any question when it comes to sleep? Godwin.
If the narcolepsy, does age also play a role in it?
You said, does it play a role in?
Yeah, age. Is it related to aging?
In most situations, when you have brain issues, it could be possible in a sense that as you grow up, issues also get a bit weak. So definitely, it could happen that as the person ages, certain areas like the reticular activity system will also in thereby leading to this. So to some extent, it's possible, and sometimes, but in most situations, it is due to traumatic brain injury, that's accidents leading to damage in the reticular activity system, or maybe stroke.
Okay, follow.
Yeah. Okay, Godwin.
Okay, a follow-up question. Is there any way we can manage it? Is there any therapy for it?
There are some interesting. So one thing you can do is that you need to during the daytime the person always is sleeping. It could be that at that point they don't have a lot of activities going on. That means you need to let the person schedule most of his activities during the daytime. During the daytime, he needs to work. He needs to be active. It should be distracted. That'll keep the person busy. So out of it, they wouldn't get that sort of time to work. Taking the nap and so on and so forth. Why the person has a lot of ample time then definitely they will begin to engage in sleep attacks. Experience those sleep attacks because you are lonely, you are not doing anything. So definitely it will happen. So that means at some point in time there should be some sort of engagement. And
Paulina, please kindly mute yourself, please.
And they shouldn't maybe find themselves in jobs which is quite flexible. They have ample time for themselves to do certain things. So if this a person like this, that means the person needs to find himself in maybe in a bank, like doing a teller job, because with that you have a lot of customers coming walking in. So throughout you are busy, you are being distracted. It wouldn't make you have those sort of sleep attacks. But if you find yourself in a back office position, then definitely you have some ample time for yourself to do other things, thereby leading to those attacks. Yeah. All right. Any other question?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, George.
Yes. Can we say that when you have a cold, it leads to the narcolepsy?
Why?
Because when you have cold, sometimes you find difficulty in breathing.
And that one will be the sleep apnea that you are saying. No, with that, it has no correlation with the sleep apnea. With sleep apnea, during the time that
Okay.
sleeping.
All right.
During the time that the person.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome. With cold, there's a reason, because there's a blockage within your nostrils, so you wouldn't be able to breathe in well. But with the sleep apnea, okay, it all has to do with the fact that there's that sort of disruptions, okay, especially within maybe some portions of the medulla, which is responsible for you breathing in well, breathing.
Okay.
Okay, so out of it, you wouldn't be able to there'll be a little sedation of breath happening at that moment.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with the nostrils. Though code has the nostrils blockages within the nostrils, but this has to do with the brain, issues within the brain.
Oh. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Emmanuel Kofi Yabua. So that will be the last question I'll take, then I'll move on. Ima, I could barely hear you.
Okay, thank you. Concerning this, sir, please, can you hear me?
Please go ahead.
Hello.
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Narcolepsy. Okay. Concerning this, please, can it cause an effect?
Ima, I didn't really get what you said. Your network is really bad.
Someone who is suffering from this, or can it?
Sorry, Ima, I could barely hear you. You please send your question.
Hello, sir. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. I was asking about someone. Does it have any effect?
did someone get what he was saying, or is it my end or his end? The network. So please.
So I think it's at his end. We can hear you clearly.
You can hear him clearly.
No, we can hear you clearly, but for him we can't.
Then Emmanuel, please, kindly put it on the chat room section. That will be better. So let me go on. So the next one has to do with hunger, the normal hunger that you know of. Okay, so I wouldn't go through these things. My main focus will be on the brain mechanisms. With these ones, you can easily read it for yourself. The brain mechanisms, what happens. So whenever you are thirsty, okay, there are certain mechanisms going on. So first, we will say that anytime you are hungry, let me make it quite plain. Within your tummy, you will see that there are some inputs, pains. Let me put it in that fashion. You see that you experience some pains within your tummy, right? Signaling to you that Charlie, you are hungry. That pains, we call it contractions. So you see that there are some contractions happening within your body, especially your tummy, signaling to you that look, you are hungry, so you need to eat something. So for you to experience those contractions, it means there's a hormone that will be produced by the hypothalamus known as ghrelin. So ghrelin is the one that will cause the contractions within your stomach walls, signaling to you that, Charlie, you are hungry. Then you would what? You would go in and eat. And when the ghrelin does that, it signals to you, then the aqueous nucleus would also be what? Would also be activated. Okay, within your brain, it will be activated to also influence you that, Charlie, you need to eat something. You need to eat something. So it means the upward nucleus within the hypothalamus also plays a role. All right. Then, when for you to sate your hunger, certain areas in the brain also plays a role, especially the upward nucleus. When I say sate your hunger, it means you eat, then with time you can see that, oh, you are satisfied. So for you to know that, oh, I need to what? I need to stop eating. I need to stop eating. And it means the upward nucleus would then what? Be activated again to influence you to what? Stop eating. Also, this portion within the hypothalamus, known as the ventromedial hypothalamus, signals to you that, Charlie, you've eaten a lot and it is okay, so please stop eating. So the ventromedial hypothalamus would be the one to influence you that you need to halt eating. Okay. Also, the lateral hypothalamus plays a role when it comes to helping you to eat something. It also signals to you that, Charlie, you are hungry, you need to eat something. That's the lateral hypothalamus. So it means for you to feel that you are hungry, it all boils down to the upward nucleus, the lateral hypothalamus. So the upward nucleus will be activated, thereby leading to production of a hormone known as ghrelin, causing contractions in your stomach walls. Then the lateral hypothalamus will also be activated to signal to you that, Charlie, you are hungry, you need to eat something. So after you've been able to eat, then the ventromedial hypothalamus would be activated, signaling to you that what you've eaten so far is enough. Then you halt eating. Then the orbitofrontal cortex within the frontal lobe also helps you to know, we call it reward value of food. It helps you to know, to appreciate the food in itself, how important it is. How appealing or appetizing the food is. The orbitofrontal cortex will be the one to influence you. So out of it is what? It would influence you to eat the food so as to decrease the hunger in itself. So it means when you see a food that you feel that, oh, this food gets a late, it is really, really what? Appealing or appetizing. For you to take in, it means that at that moment your orbitofrontal cortex is the one what? Active. Sometimes you are not hungry, but you see the food alone causes some contraction in you to what? To eat the food. So in that regard, for you to eat it, it is the orbitofrontal cortex leading to that. Okay. So please, any questions so far when it comes to the brain mechanisms? And I've intentionally taken my time to do this because these things are the areas that normally pops up a lot. When the questions fall under internal regulation, the lecturer, his focus is on the brain mechanisms involved in test, in temperature, in hunger, and sleep. So these are the key things you need to pay attention to very well. Okay, Phineas.
Yes, sir.
Please go ahead.
Sorry, your voice was down, so I heard you though, but it was down. I don't know if my colleagues are also facing the same challenge.
Okay, so
but my question is, when you are hungry for a longer period of time and you deny yourself of food, it gets to a time that you feel some kind of headache. I don't know if you can throw more light on the internal regulations that causes that headache.
Hey, some more. All right. Then Kwame, please go ahead. Hello, Kwame. Kwame, your microphone is off, so please unmute your mic and speak. Kwame, is it by mistake or something? Your microphone is off. All right. So Pinehas, when it comes to this question here, the only issue that I have is that one thing I know, I don't know whether any of you have experienced this. Whenever you are hungry and you starve yourself, you feel some issues of headache. What I know is that sometimes when you are hungry and you starve yourself a lot and you take in the food, you see that you have some uncomfortable sensations within your tongue. That's what I know. So please, have you any of you experienced that you having headaches, issues of headaches?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
yes, please.
Yes, sir, it's true, sir.
It's very true.
It's very true.
Yes.
But in my situation, when it happens like that and I take in water, the headaches go.
Some days even go after you eat.
But me, after taking water, the headaches go. But it's only I'll sweat a lot.
It means you need water in your system.
It's true, he needs water.
No, I mean when I'm hungry.
When it comes to this, I don't.
When the
okay, I get you. I get you. So Phineas, one thing is with this, it will be very difficult for me to spell out the fundamental or the main physiological mechanisms leading to the headache. But the most serious note, because I don't see any of these regions causing that. Yeah.
Okay, sir. But sir, I don't know whether you would maybe you want to try it before, because I thought it's something that's normal. Maybe it can also be a kind of I don't want to call it a disorder, but maybe I don't know whether it's peculiar to some people.
I don't think so.
Or is it because that maybe you've not starved yourself to that point before? Or maybe you've not been denied food up to that point before.
So that was why I threw the question to other colleagues just to find out whether it has happened to them before. So I think maybe it could be it's a normal reaction that sometimes it happens. But for now, it will be very hard for me to indicate or pinpoint the exact brain area which is causing that. Yeah. iPhone, please, your hand is up. iPhone, please, is it by mistake? Please unmute your mic if it's not, or else I'll continue. All right.
My question is, does hunger or satisfaction has anything to do with sleep? Because sometimes, in particular, when I'm hungry, I feel weak and then feel like sleeping too. Same way when I'm satisfied, I'll feel like. So I don't know if it has any link with it.
So long as they are all related to the hypothalamus, then definitely there could be some linkage, because the thing is, and sometimes it is a learning behavior that we do, okay? Because you know that okay, I'm hungry, I have nothing, I have no food or whatsoever, or I don't have any money. So what do? I try to sleep just to beat the time. Let me put it in that fashion. So it is a learning behavior that you've done consistently. So it becomes part and parcel of your behavior. That's one thing about learning. I think level 200, level 300, you'll be doing a topic on it, learning, classical conditioning. This is a form of classical conditioning. Condition yourself consistently, so it becomes part and parcel of it. So it's possible that it has nothing to do with brain mechanisms, but it is a learning behavior that you want to engage yourself in, thereby leading to that. Yeah. All right, Johnson.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. I just want to add something small to the hunger and then the headache situation.
Okay.
What I know is all our organ system, all of the system is connected to the brain. So whenever you are hungry, that means there's something lacking in the system. So the system needs something to function. So while there's no food, it will send signal to the brain. Okay, so while the signal goes to the brain, that means the brain will do overworking. The function of the brain will not be normal. So that's why we experience this headache. Because sometimes when you even have a stomach problem, you could see that you feel headache. Once the stomach problem is gone, the headache will also vanish. So I don't think that the problem is the hunger, but because the system needs food to function, that is why the signal is sent to your brain, and then the brain is located inside your head. So when the brain is having issues, you start feeling the headache. That is my view.
All right. Thank you. So these are some of the theories that you need to know. We have the glucose theory. So it means we have certain receptors, glucose receptors in the body, which is solely for metabolizing glucose and converting it into energy. Then we also have certain lipid theory, whereby we're taking certain fats so as to regulate, especially the body fat temperature. All right. So please Zoom just alerted me that I have 10 minutes. So when it cuts, use the same link to join. So that's what happens. We have some of these theories, the glucose theory and the lipid theory. Okay. And apart from this, we have the main one that I'll be focusing on is the intestinal factors. External factors. So we normally say that within the duodenum, okay, it's to a large extent processes some of these things that we eat. Let me highlight them. Glucose, amino acids, and fatty acids. Who else? Penny has. Oh, please, your hand is up.
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm sorry, but I'm not intentionally trying to take us back.
Okay.
But I don't know if there is a brain mechanism that's also like with a hunger related issue. You know, sometimes too, when you're hungry for a longer while, in fact, sometimes your hand begins to shiver. I don't know whether you've experienced it also before.
So
your motor, your like your motor, your motor movements. Like you see, there are sometimes I don't know whether it has been experienced, and I don't know if there might be some brain mechanism that causes that.
That's why I'm saying that for now, a whole lot of issues could happen because motor mechanisms has to do with what with the specific area within the brain responsible for motor activity, the primary motor cortex. Fine. The core issue is that anytime I don't want to tie it to the primary motor cortex because I don't have a lot of information when it comes to this. But one thing you should know is that in most situations, whenever anyone is hungry, you're not getting them. You don't have a lot of energy in your system. So definitely your body will be Will be weak. So it could be that it is not an internal mechanism leading to that. But since your body in itself is weak, you're not producing a lot of glucose, supplying blood to the entire body. So definitely, rationally, you would experience certain symptoms. Maybe your muscles would weaken, you wouldn't be able to even move, walk, or because definitely you have low energy. So all these things could play a role, not necessarily the brain, but the brain could also be part because there's low supply of glucose and oxygen to the brain. Definitely could also play an integral role. So it is a multifaceted thing, a whole lot of issues come into play. I don't want to sit here and say, oh, this specific area could is the one doing that. Because as long as you're not taking in the food, okay, definitely you wouldn't be able to be active to do certain things. So definitely you have issues in that regard. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. These things. So please, any questions so
Hello,
far?
sir.
Yep.
No, not a question, please, but looking at the time, it's just 2 minutes to 6 o'clock. Please, are we coming back?
I wanted us to end. So I wanted us to do the test aspect. So I don't think we even have ample time for that. So I would advise that you try and read on test. We have two main types of tests. We have the osmotic test and the volumetric test. Know what it is all about. So let me use, Zoom is letting me have 5 minutes. So let me use the 5 minutes to speed it up on the two types. So with the osmotic, the osmotic test has to do with when you're taking a lot of salt, it triggers you to taking a lot of water. The essence is that the moment you're taking salt, okay, the salts are highly concentrated at the outside the cell. That's the extracellular cell. Right now, you know what the extracellular cell is all about. The first time that we were doing biological cycle, we highlighted on it. So it is highly concentrated there. So since it is highly concentrated, water that you store, because when you're taking water, okay, your body stores some part of it. So the moment you're taking salt, automatically the water that you store rush into the extracellular cell just to flash those sodium ions from the extracellular cell, because we don't want the sodium to be too much. So that's what happens. So when that happens, it means you've lost water because the water that you've stored has been just flushed out. So your body would then signal to you that, hey, Charlie, you need to take in what? You need to take in water. That's what happens. So when that happens, we call it osmotic test or osmometric test. Then we have another one known as volumetric test. Volumetric test. With that, it happens when you have a blood, maybe you experience diarrhea or you lose a lot of blood. So when you're losing that sort of blood, your body begins to what? Your body begins to signal to the system that you need to what? You need to take in water. And we have a whole lot of processes it goes through to do that. A whole lot of processes it goes through to do that. We have an area. Any of you have the Kalat book? It will be better if you go through the Kalat to understand the test, because there are certain physiological mechanisms I wanted to walk you through. I can't find it there. Good. Good. So first, when your blood volume drops, this is what happens. There's an area within the kidney known as the renin. Okay, it will then what? It will then convert a structure known as angiotensin. Okay, so it will convert it into angiotensin 1, then later to angiotensin 2. Then angiotensin 2 will be the one that will constrict your blood vessels, signaling to you that, Charlie, you've lost water. So you need what? You need to take in extra water. So that's what happens. So the renin, the moment you lose any water due to blood loss or maybe diarrhea or something, your kidney will release an enzyme known as renin. Okay. Then the renin will then produce some angiotensin in your protein by first transforming it into angiotensin 2, which is later converted into angiotensin 2. So first it will convert it to angiotensin 1, then later to angiotensin 2. The moment it is converted to angiotensin 2 will be the one to constrict your blood vessels. Okay, signaling to you that, Charlie, you've lost water. So you need to what? You need to take in extra water. So that's what happens. That's the mechanism that happens. All right. So I'm done when it comes to tests, especially the physiological mechanisms in the brain. So please say the question. And when it comes to the brain area, we have certain areas mainly responsible for that. So we